Hey everybody, by now you ought to know that there's been some funky shit activity going on in Coos County, Stratford, New Hampshire. I call it Mental Mountain because that's where all the crazies and the drugs were, okay? And it's not because Sambo was doing drugs, it's because the pill junkies that receive prescriptions prescribed to them by Weeks Medical Center in Whitefield, New Hampshire. They go to Walgreens in Colebrook on certain days in the month. Per se, November 24th and 25th, two prescriptions were picked up and they were sold in Lancaster to a guy named, they call Uncle Tim, that allegedly works at a resort down by Mount Washington, okay? The cops are very well aware of this. They're very well aware that there's a lot of information that they're hiding pertaining to the burning of the mobile home in the camper beside it, okay? So noting that, we have provided multiple documents, proof, fact, information, and statements to and against Troop F, which would be Trooper Cass, which would be Trooper Corey Lord, which would be Trooper Zach Howery, Berlin PD, and a whole lot more, including Stratford Town officials Suzanne Goulet, Charlie Goulet, and the other two selectmen with Goulet, okay? Which, that's a conflict of interest anyways, because Goulet trying to take property, and we can prove that he has been on property, trespassed property, put signs up on property that doesn't belong to him. He had no business going on the property where I rent, and Corey Ladd had no business putting out without properly investigating or investigating at all. USC 242-1983 is a violation of due process. Corey, you didn't investigate anything. What you did was everything you could to apprehend my phone because you know of all the information pertaining to the fires, the rapes, the arsons, the drugs, and the murders of little girls, right? Because you were a trooper when your friend Jeffrey Noyce was captain, correct? So with that being said, noting that Jeffrey Noyce, ex-chief of police of Canaan, Vermont and Island Pond, Vermont, still works for the state of New Hampshire, bail and bondsman for U.S. Court, District Court, which would be the federal building, okay? Bail and bondsman until 2028. And he is not set yet for trial in Guildhall, Vermont for sexually assaulting and admitting 15-year-old in the backseat of the cruiser on Halloween. Okay, so with that being said, he was on duty. The town of Island Pond has been lawsuited by me, and all my mail came up missing, so it dismissed the cases. But they are being retracted. The investigation has reached D.C. Sammy and I have spent a lot of fucking time on the road and done a lot of paperwork and a lot of talking, and we're not done doing paperwork or talking yet, and we're not done with court hearings either. Thursday, January 29th, 2026, 10:30 a.m. Be there, Lancaster District Court. There will be a hearing at 10:30 a.m. for Sammy on behalf of the fact that his family had him illegally locked up. They lied about him. The charges were dismissed after he spent 90 days incarcerated on false charges that New Hampshire State Police refused to investigate. And it is a call that started in Vermont, and they apprehended him in New Hampshire, and they had no business doing that because Vermont doesn't have charges on him, and New Hampshire didn't either. So with that being said, he had a fucking psych eval. With that being said, that's going to be a violation of his constitutional rights, human rights, civil rights, and more rights, because Corey Lord, okay, we'll call him Lady Lord, all right, because he reminds me of a girl, a little girl that has lost her way, okay? So we'll call Lady Lord, we'll call Nathan Cass, we'll call Mr. Ladd out on this, we'll call Mr. McCarthy out on this, and I've got plenty of recordings to prove and provide that every one of them that I just mentioned has been an acknowledgement, and they refused to make any kind of contact or arrest with the assailants, okay? December 5th, they did make an arrest, and then they let them out, and they brought them right back to the house where Sammy and I reside with Floribel, and I have a copy of a rental agreement with Floribel, and I pay rent there. So, noting that you all in the Groveton, Stratford area know the abuse and all of what's happened, them taking Sammy's money throughout the years and using him and abusing him, I'm asking you all, if you're his friend, show up at the courthouse January 29th at 10:30 a.m. and stand up for him. He needs all that he can have. He's got the good Lord, and he's got me, and he's got a good memory. He can tell the truth, and he does tell the truth. And I will be writing for him, and they will be reading it to him before he gets it notarized to remind him, because he's got disabilities and they take advantage of him. Now, let's go back to the town of Stratford. The town of Stratford has refused to assist him appropriately. They wanted to put him in a queer bed, which means at a shelter, the Tyler Blaine house, which is run by queers. And say I'm slandering? No, I'm not. It's a fact, okay? Queer is queer. I don't care what you call yourself, lesbian, gay, okay? I don't give a fuck. The fact is, if you're queer, you're fucking queer, and face it and take the fucking heat or get the fuck out of the fire. But the fact is, Sammy doesn't belong in a queer shelter. He's not queer, and that's a violation of his rights. He has medical conditions, so that would be a violation of his rights because it would heighten his anxiety through his PTSD. So the town of Stratford is under a lot of scrutiny, and each day that goes by, each second, every minute, every hour of every day, I count for, okay? And that means that Stratford, when you went behind my back knowing that you have to talk to me when you're talking to Sammy, and it's written and it's signed paperwork because you take advantage of his disabilities, and I'll prove it in the courtroom in federal U.S. District Court, Concord, New Hampshire, or even Washington, D.C. But either way, you people are going to fucking learn a lesson. I promise you that. You're going to stop stealing property. You're going to stop drugging people. You're going to stop fucking harassing people. Do you understand me? Because that right there, I wasn't around. Sammy wasn't around. And therefore, I have proof, again, from USPS that was my address. And these people have denied us any kind of assistance to get us out of the cold. Sammy had a heart attack. He ended up in Portsmouth Hospital. And then, because William Eugene Asher's ex-lover, Christopher Gagnon, works there without a doubt, that's why he was harassed and put out at nighttime, 2.5 fucking hours away. And Lancaster told him if he went down there for his test that they would be getting him back there. Well, no, they fucking didn't. So that's harassment too. So we got Lancaster Hospital, we got New Hampshire State Police, we've got the town of Stratford, we got the county of Coos, the state of New Hampshire, Troop F, the police that I named off, Berlin PD, Colebrook PD, and the list is going to go on, because on January 1st, when you took my phone, came up with a warrant to take my phone, you might have taken my phone, but you had to have a reason to do that, and you didn't properly investigate. Had you properly investigated, but you didn't, because you know you're fucking guilty of drugging people, dealing drugs, and hiding bodies, as well as having sex with mentally challenged people. Isn't that right, Troop F? With that being said, don't even fucking deny it, because your troop was run by Jeffrey Noyce and John Scarenza. That says a whole fucking lot right there. And knowing that they're still involved and you're friends with them, that says a whole lot more. You all know that you're involved in sex trafficking, drug trafficking, and you're trying to abuse your power by color of law to silence and suppress information by silencing me, by taking my phone and deleting my account. But you see, I have that phone. I have this phone, and I have 5 more that have been intercepted by police right here in my possession, and it's all coming up because the feds have already got the fucking information. And by the way, Mr. Corey Lord, I'm going to let you know that Kim in Holderness, Lieutenant Kim, is very well aware of your actions, and I know that she emailed you a copy of the acknowledgement from the USPS that I live at 654 Bog Road, and you're trying to get rid of me to silence me and suppress information, but it's not fucking working. Thank you, New Hampshire.